Wow. Well, everything's already in the right place. No need to press the switch, the thingamajig buttons like this. Beautiful. That indicates a good start to me today. Anyway, in the bottom left side, we have ourselves a blue Terran player fighting for the KZ Gamers. It is going to be time for time. Is it time's time? We'll never know. Anyway, in the top right side, a man who is playing the red Brodels pieces. It is Alpha X's very own Astrea. The man, the myth, the legend from the NA rankings. Truly one of the best in his region. Now in Korea, trying to become even better. Trying to become the best in the Korean region as well, I imagine. And he's definitely been improving during his stay in Korea. It's always nice to see that happen for these players, right? I feel like once they make that move, it's just a lot more committed, maybe, perhaps. You know, it might be easier for players to really put more hours into their study and practice of the StarCraft 2 esports. It's always nice. I feel like Astrea, one of those players, taking it very seriously and really showing that it is quite an improvement he's making. Time, of course, already a big part of the Korean ladder for a long while. Has had that gauntlet already for a bit longer. And he is showing that as well, of course, in his skill. He is a tremendous Terran player. Always one of those or guys where we get quite excited for now and again, and sometimes it's like, oh well, I guess he's not the very best Terran, but you know, sometimes he surprises you, thinking, you know what, he might be pretty close. Little Reaper man walking across. We'll start to do some initial scouting here with an Adept on the way for Astrea. The Adept should arrive in time, just about. Just barely, but it will. So that is very nice. Making a Twilight Council with this as well. Going for a Stalker. I'm imagining Astrea is going to be a player that will attempt to just go straight into the Blink upgrade. Nothing crazy with a charge or Adept all-in type of situation here. A very rare occurrence to have happen anyway with a lot of Brodels players, but Astrea definitely not a player where I would anticipate that. Zoun may be a player that I would anticipate doing that a bit quicker, the Korean Alpha X player, but he's not a part of this. Astrea might be his team member, but there's some distinct differences in their style. Alright. 1-1-1 opening for time. Standard stuff. He's got himself the one Hellion here to help out with the scouting after losing his Reaper just now to the Adept. A little bit unfortunate, but it happens, it happens. Most likely we'll see another barracks here coming up pretty soon. He's gonna go for the triple racks. Make himself a Raven also. Raven becoming much more a staple tool, isn't it? A lot of matchups. The TVZ and TVP actually. Not just TVT anymore. Quite a common sight now, in fact. I guess people just got more and more comfortable with the control of the units, so now it's kind of bleeding into the other matchups, which is really cool to see. Little fake Phoenix. Comes in, sees most of everything. Should have a really good idea as to what the plan is for time here. Realizes that it probably is a good idea to keep some of his units, these Stalkers in particular, across the map here to kind of figure out when exactly this push-out timing is going to occur. Might be during the stim and +1 finishing up around the same time. It would be in about a minute or something. In the not too far distant future. There we go, 5 gateways, charge coming up as well. Astrea realizing that this could potentially be a bit of aggression coming his way, so it's always nice to have that extra gateway force really to stop this from doing much. Oh dear, yeah. Gotta be careful of the siege tank. Didn't lose too much HP, just one Starker there with a bit of green missing. No longer has them at the front door of the Terran base either though, so it's going to be difficult to fully realize if there is or is not a push coming out of the front door. As we can see, there's a couple of medevacs, which is sometimes the danger of having your Starkers across the map, because if these medevacs arrive with your Starkers still in no man's land, then, you know, that could be problematic. However, Astrea, with the watchtower here, was able to see them quite before, yeah, quite a bit beforehand. Decides to send a War Prism of his own this way. Seeing further moving out of this army as well. 2 army pieces now, really. This would be a perfect time for Astrea to come in here with the, well, majority of the army units of time being in the middle of the map. There we go. Zealots coming in, Widow Mines on to the burrowing grounds. Gotta be careful with those Zealots being so close together. Does manage to set them off pretty nicely. The Zealots are struggling with the SCVs. That's a bit problematic here. On the other side of the map. Oh no, deja vu for Astrea. Massive anti-armor missile. That is difficult to see. At least he is killing a lot of those SCVs. Just needs to hold on here as well. He's got himself the shield battery overcharge. Definitely an opportunity here, but oh, that target fire does take out units quite quickly still. Stress on the other map. On the other side of the map, not the other map. On this map, but a bit to the other side. He is doing a tremendous job taking this out. 42 workers, still has a reasonable chunk of Zealots here in this base. Still has the War Prism right there. Really, this is going to be the moment. If he breaks this, if he stops these units from being a thing, I think that is going to just be GG. Straight up. Don't lose more workers. And yeah, that is looking brilliant for Astrea there. 5 workers to 29. Good luck, Mr. Time. If he wins this, that is going to be one hell of a comeback. We've seen some comebacks happen already recently in the into the Alpha X Pro circuit, but this would be even crazier. So good luck to you, Time. I hope it works out for you. That'd be nice. Losing concussive shell, that is already a bit painful. Losing another tac lab here. So mostly just going to be stuck to marine production. A couple of zealots trying to figure out whether or not they could get some SCV kills there as well. Decides against it, but now goes back in here with his marines. Sorry, his stalkers. Spreading out the army a little bit. Might be enough now for the Stalkers to just fight the infantry here. It's not that much. If they target fire the Marauders. Oh, this might be too much though. Back out. Back out. 3 Stalkers survive. What is Astrea doing on this side of the map? He's retaking this base. He's got himself the 2 bases mining. He's a bit oversaturated, which makes it a bit more difficult for his income advantage to be as massive as it could be, right? It's actually a lot closer in the income graph than I thought it would be, considering Astrea had like 4 times the amount of workers as Time had, if not more. Zealots into the natural base again. Here, now on the other side, there's the storm. That's got to be the final nail in the coffin, and yes it is. Tapping out, GG. Astrea wins game number 1. I feel like it's nice to see these two fight up against one another, right? Because it is these two different regions that are outside of Korea. And they, well, definitely Time, right? He's the best of that region. The Chinese region. Astrea, there's still a bit of debate, right? There's still a couple of other players that could participate in the overall discussion of who gets the NA crown. But Astrea definitely a competitor for that overall discussion. Doesn't quite get the SEV, but delays that supply depot there by quite a bit. I don't think he really needed that supply depot as soon as possible, though. It would have been fine otherwise. I still had a bit of time here even, right, to finish it up. There we go. Only now it would have been important. But even then, right. Actually, it wouldn't have been. Only when he starts another unit now. So yeah, he was a bit quick with that second supply depot, actually. Oh well. Oh well. What are we doing? What are we doing? Another gateway? Interesting. Going up to the 2 gates here pretty quickly off of the natural base as well. Two Reapers a bit much for a singular sentry there, and Time does manage to get a pretty quick kill on that unit. Now making life difficult for a singular Stalker here. Not a Stalker coming in, but needs to join with the shooting gallery if he wants to have any effect. Does manage to push these units back outside, and they're pretty low HP. The Stalker's still hunting them, but Time on the case. He's not going to let these boys die. Another Stalker over there for Astrea. Going for the Robo facility afterwards. Interesting. One of those tech structures that we know can work. We've seen it done before. But it's just usually not the choice from these players. So, very curious as to what Astrea will be planning with this. He's a very smart player, after all. He will not just do random stuff for the heck of it. He always has a plan, and it's always a lot more convoluted than you think it might be. And then, surprisingly enough, sometimes it works as well. All the players, when they make over-convoluted plans, it just kind of falls apart. But Astrea, a man, will work it until it works. All of his Stalkers spread out here. Having a bit of trouble overall. Losing a Stalker to the Widowmine. One other Widowmine doesn't manage to get into the ground. Oh dear, nice pullback with those mines. But is it enough here to really the herd on Astrea? He doesn't lose any economy, but he lost a lot of gateway forces, and that on its own already pretty bad for Astrea. They just don't trade as efficiently as those early on bio units, especially if they have those medevacts there. So Astrea on the end of a bad fight overall might be in trouble for another attack that, you know, is coming in from Time. It's just a matter of overall approximated elapsing of time. Until he attacks again. Ah. There's the other 2 and 3rd barracks, the 2nd and the 3rd barracks. Astrea going straight up into Colossi here. Very interesting. Definitely could work, but we'll see whether or not Time commits more so onto Marauders. If there's more Marauders here, that could worry me slightly. I would love to see a Twilight Council for some charge slots being incorporated into this play as well. I'm not sure how that would work out for Astrea. Astrea probably a bit more familiar with how this build should work. So I'm just going to sit quietly by and kind of look as to what is happening. Came out to meet the medevac here. Can't quite punish it. But at least he is familiar with the situation there now. Putting up more spotter pylons on the other side of the map. Doesn't want to get caught with his pants down. Astrea already planning for a 4th base here, perhaps, as time is not even making a 3rd base at this point in time. May want to be a bit careful here as Astrea. Medevac still in the corner. A couple of Stalkers await its arrival. There's the push. Right, we do have extended thermal lance ready. 3 Colossi in total. So that is quite a bit of firepower. This Raven could make or break this engagement, I believe, here for time. If he gets himself a good couple of interference matrices. I mean, the small gateway force is going to have even less, really, to do anything here. Oh, he came in very quickly. The interference matrix is quite slow. And that allowed the Colossus to do enormous amounts of damage before it really even took a hold. But, oh man. Still lost 2 of his Colossi. 1 left. He's gonna finish off this little push of time. To be fair. And I guess now he might feel confident to actually go for that 4th base. Oh dear, Waprism, you gotta be careful. Okay, the Waprism wasn't getting targeted. And just barely survives. Oh, that was so close. I'm not even sure how one Widowmine managed to hit and the other one didn't when they burrowed at the same time. I guess that's just how close it got. Yeah, not a position where Astrea can start really moving across the map and start making time hurt where he lives, but still okay. Let's take a look at the overall trading that's happened though, and oh my, that is terrifying for Astrea. Yeah, he's gaining a lot more money, but he's definitely trading inefficiently here. I feel like a part of that is not having the charge upgrade with your zealots for such a long period of time. He's relying more so on the Stalkers to be the meat shield, but against the heavy Marauder and Siege Tank compositions here from time, it just seems like he's struggling to keep those units of his own alive. Even with the Vikings now as well, especially, right? Still no Twilight Council. 4th base is on the way, however. Astrea quite aggressively placed here. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make something happen. I guess 4 SCV kills, that's something. How long can he stay here until time just has enough to run over him? Vikings definitely can be a bit more proactive here, I feel like. Siege Tanks has got good range, so it will keep them a fair bit secured. Gotta be extra careful not to lose that Waprism as well. So Astrea backs off. There's the Twilight Council. Okay, I love it. Wonderful. Before he makes any commitments, let's get those Twilight Council upgrades going as well. That is a... yeah, I can appreciate that. It definitely had me teetering on a bit of nervousness there, where Astrea with his entire army there, and then, you know, time just set up already. He's got his, he got the ditch dug in the ground. The trenches were there, available, ready to receive Astrea's army. Right, time starting up the production of Ghost now as well. Incorporating them can be very efficient against the Zealots, even if they do have that charge upgrade. As Astrea is starting to incorporate both the Dark Shrine as well as Disruptors that are being produced right now. Astrea having a wonderful sight, by the way, as to what is happening with the opponent's army. Really great map awareness. Look at this. This is his map vision overall. absolutely flying into it. Alright, there we go. Big fight does occur all of a sudden. It felt like a bit of a, alright, let's just get this done with. But will it work? Not much splash damage remaining for the Protoss forces, but the Gateway forces seemingly enough, and there it is. GG. Definitely a type of play that I had not envisioned working. Him just kind of being like, alright, well, let's just go for it. And then with the way his army engaged as well, had me worried. There's a lot of Zealots just kind of marching forwards on their own first. The Colossi took a while to participate. The Disruptor was still halfway across the map. But it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. He had enough. He had outgrown his opponent sufficiently. So even if Time was quite efficient with his army, I guess that push needed to do economic damage as well as it did only do damage to the army composition of Astrea. But with that very quick robo, perhaps, it allows you to be a bit more, how do you call this? Dangerous, living on the edge with those Colossus you have, because you just have more of them overall. You're gonna have more of them overall if you keep that production going. Maybe it's okay to lose some of them then, or it's more okay to lose some of them then. Still such a valuable unit that takes a lot of time. Really breaking some rules in my own mind here, but well, we'll see. Just want to see more of that type of game from Astrea, really. Also want to see Time pick up the pace just slightly. Somehow, in some way. We'll see if he manages to get a victory here on the board, of course, because this match is quite important. It's going to be the difference maker between a 1-point difference or a 3-point difference, you know? And one of them is very, very doable, and the other one is, well, not as much. You really don't see that all that often. Ooh, keeps the Reaper alive, gets the Hellion out of there as well. And kills the Adept, so definitely something. He lost this other Reaper. I sometimes forget that he does make more Reapers. Who was it? Did we see Astrea recently playing against Cure into the Alpha X Pro Circuit? I guess I could just say Pro Circuit. Where's the productions? Gateway Robo is here. Did he see that? No, he didn't. Okay. So playing in the dark. Building himself a bunker. Playing it safe. And going for Liberator straight away here as well. Reapers might get targeted pretty soon. No? No, yeah, they are. So do you think he waited to go with his Stalkers until the Observer was out of the vision range? So that Time wouldn't be aware of the Observer coming towards his side of the map? Or at least decrease the odds of Time, you know, moving his camera over there because Stalkers are coming. And then seeing the shimmer. It's a very tiny thing, but I'm pretty sure Astrea would do stuff like that on purpose. He is the player that would come up with that sort of shenanigans. Liberator here hasn't managed to do anything yet. Almost forgot that it was a thing. As Astrea's already on the case dealing with it. Alright, sets it up over there so he can use his all army hotkey without any problem. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why you would do this. Back into the Colossi, yeah, straight away. Does have that Twilight Council a lot earlier this time around, though. As he realizes that, once again, he's going to be going up against a 2-base Terran. Can he see that command center being built? No, just barely cannot. I hope he doesn't think that he will. Could lead him to misinterpret this situation, but I think he'll be able to figure it out. Very slow and methodical here. Still wondering if we're going to see this move out from time. I guess we will. The siege tank's unsieging now. Astrea needs to be aware of this. There we go. He's starting to move that observer with the army. Very good, very good. How many Colossi are we on at the moment? It is only 2. Not as much as he had before. But he does have the extended thermal lance. And there's no Raven this time with the army either. That's a boatload more siege tanks though. Oh my, that is 5 siege tanks right here. So time definitely having adjusted the overall army composition. Favoring the siege tanks for the time being, hoping to utilize them to target down more so the army units of Astrea before they do anything else. Liberator here has been dealt with. Well, he managed to get a couple of kills. Zealot charge, will it be enough to take out those siege tanks? It's one of the stronger tools. The siege tank's not really targeting the Colossi either. And that is a very clean fight there for Astrea, only losing Zealots. And trading out very efficiently. Look at that. The gas count in particular is the one to look for. You never want to have a Protoss lose less gas than a Terran. If you are the Terran player, that is. Full base is going strong for Astrea, of course, as he just he is floating right now. I'm not saying floating money and stuff like that. I'm saying floating like he's in the clouds. He's doing really well. Look at this vision again as well. Like this is it's so good. It's like he has creep all over the map. Alright, little Zealot warp in, perhaps, into the main base. Some units will have to be sent to deal with this. Oh, not that much available for the first warp in. Alright, there's the rest of it. Warp Prism sacrificed, but that allows the rest of the army actually to just stampede across the front side of Time's base. And GG is called once again. Astrea on an absolute tear right now. We've only done about 34 minutes of this, and he is now 3-0 versus Time. Has Time lost his shape, or just Astrea got better? Well, definitely Astrea got better. He's been putting in a lot of hours in the Korean scene. He's fighting new opponents, finding new strategies to fight against, you know, and having to find new solutions. And this is a man who is made to find solutions. So it's a perfect environment for him, being in Korea and in like a new kind of region. And a whole different set of players that he would be playing against normally. Or at least on a very normal ping. Right, I can imagine perhaps he goes from the American server. Sometimes he would play Korean ladder from there as well, but yeah. He is definitely jumping up on the scoreboards quite rapidly. Time has always been one of those players where it's hard to judge in what kind of shape he's gonna be. It really is. Even now, I'm not sure if he's in a bad shape. Like, the builds he's doing, it seems okay, and it like... I guess there was some slight target firing from the siege tanks here and there, but I don't think it would have mattered all too much. I don't know. Maybe he's just struggling against the build order that Astrea's doing, right? Because it's not one we've seen all that much. Times build orders really should work well against, like, the Twilight Council opening, perhaps, or, like, a Stargate opening. There's anti-harassment type units. But Astrea going for the Colossi just so quickly every single time. Keeping this probe around for a long while. It's gonna lose it here, though, to the Hellion. But further delay on the command center does take place. Astrea strikes with the Adept. It's gonna be able to get him out of there as well. Very nice. It's a solid start already. Not that he needs one today, apparently, but man. Pretty good, pretty good. Twilight Council, alright. Was it the first map where, I think so, right? Where we had Data C. Astrea going for Blink as well initially, and then going for the Colossi. No, wait, he did go for Colossi first there. But then he just kind of walked across the map at some point, and he found the army of Time somewhere. Well, it would be over here if this was Data C. Great way to describe it. But anyway, I guess that fight also came down to the Raven not quite being able to land its abilities in time. And Astrea just catching Time off guard. Another Liberator coming up. More siege tanks, and there's the robotics bay once more. Gonna try to help out here. Wouldn't mind drop suspended in air near the Protoss base. Waiting for an opportunity to strike. He's being very patient with this. He's gonna send the Liberator to the other side. Perhaps wait for some more harassment potentials to be set up around the Protoss base before he pulls the trigger on any of them. Yeah, that's not gonna see that medevac coming in. Alright, that's a bit scary. He might feel confident now to move those stalkers away. I mean, yes, he does. So that medevac now in a prime situation for something to have happened there. As these stalkers get spotted on the middle of the map, that must be the indicator for time to go with this, right? Let's go, the Liberator coming in. There it is. There's the medevac with the Widow Mines. Ooh, quick response out of Astrea. Very quick response. Oh, yeah, still loses 2 workers. Liberator here does not manage to get a Stalker. The only thing getting out of that situation is the medevac. Definitely not going as I thought it might. 2 workers there. In all honesty, I thought that was one of the more likely to hit medevacs I've seen in a while. And, I mean, that was also one of the more earlier spotted medevacs I've seen in a while. Because Astrea was busy on the middle of the map a little bit. I guess Time did pull away quite quickly there, didn't he? That is one of those things, when your opponent pulls away from a engagement, you're like, well, what else is happening then? You start looking at the map. Okay, Astrea spots the move out here from Time once again. Going quite ham on his 2 base. Hopefully for him, he's going to find a bit more success this time around. Colossi do not manage to get the big sweeps initially as they did in some previous matches. Because Time did send one unit a bit further forwards. The one Marine to scout ahead. Look at the observers here though from Astrea once again. He's just seeing everything. He's got a little pylon warping in over there. Is he going to see the medevacs? Oh, no, I don't think so. Zealots over there and he is repositioning. Okay. This is coming in undetected so far. But it's not that many units there either, right? One warp in should be able to deal with that. This time just kind of backs off once more. Not feeling all too confident after the previous 3 games, and I don't blame him. It just felt like a brick wall, time and time again. Gonna try here. Why no drops and harass? I mean, Astrea's been too solid against it. He came in with a 2 medevac drop and a liberator at the same time, and he killed 2 probes. Lost all the widow mines, lost the liberator, almost lost the medevac too. That on top of, I guess he just wants to do the big push. That is what he's been playing for most of these games, right? And it just haven't been working out. So I guess now his plan is to kind of follow along the same trails, follow his same builds, but then, you know, try to make it go later game. See if he can push it out where he has better attack, where he has more liberators, more air control, more ghost. And then hopefully be better set up than he was in, I think it was game number 2. Right, yeah, Waterfalls, where he was starting to get in that late game position, but then it just kind of fell apart. As he was moving between his bases, and Astrea just kind of A-moved him. Which must make this a very scary match right now for Time, in all honesty. Okay, found the observer, that's good. Unfortunately for him, Astrea already aware of the positioning here, and apparently he liked it enough to start sending some units this way. And with some units, I mean the whole bloody Protoss army. The Navy, the Air Force, every last bit of it. Here we go. Stark is jumping forwards. The Colossi only targeting down a couple of buildings, so that's a big deal. Will the bio units already fall to the gateway DPS? It might. It's definitely having a better trade than it would have if those Colossi participated in this fight at all. And you know what? That might be the reason now where Time is going to slightly hold on here. Oh, it is getting close, isn't it? 2 Colossi sweeps here though, and this army's dead. There we go. Alright. G. There it is. Astrea takes game number 4 as well. The clean sweep, bringing it in, bringing it home. And yeah, a bit of a feels bad there full time. Probably not what we were looking for, or what he was looking for either. But a valiant effort. He's gonna have to, well, maybe watch the replays here and there, try to figure some other stuff out that he could do against the playstyle of Astrea.